so mean. Oh man, now it's a laughing golem. Now we gotta go find that one.
Laughing Gollum. I'm not Gollum.
Well, you're not Gollum, but the sound is.
I think I am Gollum sometimes, maybe.
My precious, whatever he does.
Yeah.
I know it was a terrible imitation there. I wasn't even trying. Okay, but even not trying, it was pretty close.
Mr. Hughes.
Yeah. So what's going on?
How have you been, sir? Yeah. Since I've seen you yesterday.
Well, since yesterday, pretty much the same.
Yeah. Haven't seen you since yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we did the...
Put the chat up so I can see what's going on in there.
Yeah, we went over the show yesterday.
Yeah, we're real professionals over here, you know. We rehearse.
That's right. So, how about you? Anything in your world?
No, my son gets out of school today in about 30 minutes, so that'll be great. It's his last day of school for the year. That's it.
Wow.
My daughter's already out, but you know, she's old enough. She's off and going as soon as she wakes up. But my son, it's the last day of second grade.
That makes you teary-eyed?
Yeah, he's going into the third grade, Gray. He was just born yesterday.
It's like, how quickly can we get them to 18? Just boom.
That's my sister's motto. How fast are these kids going to be 18? But me, I'm like, oh, can I go back in time?
Yeah, all the memories.
Yeah. My son's that way too, though. When he sees baby videos of himself, he gets emotional.
You know,
we're an emotional family, Greg.
We had baby films of us when we were kids, and my mom believes that our biological father, because somebody came in and stole all those, like, which is kind of weird. Maybe it was some kind of sicko, you know, like. But they were just pictures of us walking around, you know. But like, it was weird. I haven't been able to see those, but I do have photographs. Did you ever see that show where I showed all my baby pictures?
I did see your baby pictures.
Yeah.
I don't have any baby pictures. I have like 4. My mother's ex-boyfriend took them and threw them in the trash.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was a nice guy, that one. He was really sweet. He one time put me in a trash can in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Could be why I think I'm like Gollum or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, he thought it was great fun. He thought it was hysterical. I'm guessing I didn't. I was only like 2, maybe, not funny.
I think it's possible. Maybe she did look like Gollum and she invented the story about some guy throwing him in the trash.
I swear.
She just doesn't want to show him.
100% true. 100% true.
Okay.
He just thought it was a joke, you know. It's funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, so I guess we're going to get started.
Personality.
Part 2. It's dry humor.
Yes, great.
Yeah, part 2. Who is Maura?
This is part 2.
Months prior, West Point, Maura, and I thought it said Grill, but it says Bill. I don't know why that popped into my head really quick.
I don't either. Maybe you're ready for the summer.
That's probably why I'm not a speed reader, because if I was a speed reader, I'd put in all these words that are just totally ridiculous.
Are not really there.
Yeah, so.
So this is part 2.
I'm going to switch over to that monitor.
It's longer than our last one, but, we're going to move right through it. And for those of you guys who've been here before, what we've been doing is giving the basics on the case, and we will dig further into each of the things that are relevant really to her case afterwards. We did get in touch with Julie, which is Maura's sister, and she's going to be talking to us too. So we have to probably set a time when that point comes up. But in this part, we're given a little bit more about who Maura is and the months prior, as well as the West Point, her attending West Point and what happened there. And then Maura and Bill. Bill Rausch was Maura's boyfriend at the time of her disappearance. And while his alibi is that he was in Oklahoma, his name still stays very prominent in her case. So we've just featured some of the things that he's said since he's been on the internet. He was very active in forums, and he's put out statements regarding what he knows. So we're going to go over those.
All right. So next page.
Next page, buddy.
Oh, wait. Why did it do that? Hold on.
Not
It
me.
doesn't do that. It doesn't do that.
I am the
Okay,
next
I have to hit
page.
the arrow up there, not the down arrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There you go.
So this is a release that her dad put out December 8th of 2020. The Murray family asked the true crime community to refocus on Maura. The reason this all happened and that he's putting this out is there's been a lot of drama in this case. And a lot of people have gone down rabbit holes that have put the family in a bad light, or people have tried to imply certain things. So over the past 16 years, we've been blessed with a community of people that have joined together, united in their dedication to finding Maura, who approach their efforts with the best and most genuine intentions. The kindness and generosity of the vast majority of people involved in our search efforts are both humbling and astonishing. Unfortunately, we have also experienced firsthand the ugly side of true crime. Since she disappeared, my family and those truly trying to help have been re-victimized, threatened, and harassed incessantly. Reputable people have declined to help for fear of being the subject of the latest blog post. Retaining legal counsel should not be a prerequisite for volunteering to help on a missing persons case. The outspoken minority have used our tragedy as a source of income, with motives more rooted in maintaining relevance than actually finding our loved one. Now, that is something that we see happening a lot and came up, just recently. The harassment of families and the never-ending narratives. So because this income is based upon relevance, this minority pushes narratives, promotes controversy, and chooses to shift focus onto people and circumstances that in no way aid our search efforts. And through the distractions that they create, they are harmful to the cause. These tactics, which prey upon those who are emotionally invested in this case and desperate for answers, cause far too many members of this community to lose focus in the one thing that is most important and brought us together in the first place, Maura. As the spokesperson for my family, Curtis and I strive to conduct ourselves with dignity, respect. However, we cannot remain silent, thereby giving tacit approval of the bullying and misrepresentation of the truth by those who stand to gain financially from our family's tragedy and those willing to help.
See, I think
That's
what's said here is exactly what's happening, for example, in like the Summer Wells case, where everybody's just keeps covering it over and over and over again. But the problem is people want it, so they go watch it. So you were just talking about that yesterday on your live stream, where it comes down to all of you to not watch. So even people that are doing shows about how other people are, you just got to completely move on to something else until there's something new, because it's becoming very, just like they're saying there, it's just this, it feeds upon itself over and over and over again.
And a lot of families feel that way. They may not all be as well spoken as these guys, but they do feel that way. So while we will not attempt to police the internet, which they shouldn't have to do, we are making a plea to the community to shift focus back on Maura and trust in our judgment, as no one is more dedicated to the truth and finding answers than our family. She is why we are here, and together we believe we can find her. And this is 16 years in, right, that they're writing this letter saying they really do still believe that they can find her. They know that, there are good people out here. So, and that's our goal here, is to, keep her face out there while, giving you guys details that you may not have heard yet.
And doing it in a respectful way that puts out the, factual information as close to verified as possible, to put together the information so that maybe somebody out there, it'll jog somebody's memory or make them think of something that actually, like an aha moment type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, right? I mean, that's what
you never know, because everybody tells a story differently. You may see it totally different than I do, and you might catch something that somebody else hasn't caught yet. And you mention it, and by some weird chance, somebody hears it and is like, hey, I remember that.
Yeah.
You never know. You don't know. So in any case, on the next one, we have a couple of pictures of her and her dad, her friends, and a message from her sister, Julie. And I think this is so important for all of the stories that are covered. I want to remind people that we are not characters. And even though you read about us in a certain light on some of these blogs, when I show you a video of my dad on TikTok, you can see the real man behind the curtain. And when I'm able to show old videos of Maura, people can see, oh, wait a minute, this is a real human, and engage with it a little bit more, with a little bit more compassion and empathy. And TikTok has certainly done that. So she's really found a good platform there where she's able to get her sister's story out. It's been great. So.
And she gave us permission to use some of her TikTok videos, or all of them actually, if we wanted to.
She did. She said, "Yeah, use them, sure."
And
there you go. There's some pictures of her with her Nana and her running, which is what she was really great at.
Yeah.
She loved to mountain climb and all of that stuff.
Like
so there are some photos.
Pretty good athlete.
She's a great athlete, yeah. You want to take this one here?
Yeah, she was born on May 4th, 1982 to Fred and Lori. She had 4 siblings, Fred, Kathleen, Julie, and Kurt. She grew up in Hanson. Her parents divorced when she was 6 years old. Maura lived with her mom, but remained close to her dad as well. She and her dad shared many things, sports, camping, and hiking. Maura and her family spent a lot of time in New Hampshire. She attended Whitman Hanson High. Teachers recalled her as an outstanding athlete and student. Teachers described her as organized, diligent, steady, consistent, focused, and lovely. She had a close group of 7 friends throughout her life.
Mm-hmm. And you'll hear, the friends, a couple of them comment about her on the next page.
Let me go to that.
That she was quiet, a little bit shy, but she was fierce, especially in sports, and she was always laughing. I mean, if you look at 90% of the pictures we're going to find on her, she's just got a big old smile with those big dimples. They're talking about how humble she was and how she got along with everybody. She was just a really good person in their eyes.
And very smart, obviously. I mean, when you get
super smart.
You get 1420 on the SATs, that's right up there with the top people. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, she was super smart, 1420. And then she was accepted into West Point as a cadet. And it was a congressional nomination from the late Senator Edward Kennedy.
Oh.
And she attended for 18 months. And there's tons of controversy over this one point right here because of things that we will talk about in a little bit. But she ends up transferring from West Point to UMass Amherst, and she enters their nursing program. Her mother was also a nurse. So she and her sister Julie were running track together at West Point. Julie ends up staying at West Point. She ends up meeting Bill, Maura does, in 2001. And she meets him at West Point. And we will get into that a little bit later. So I already summarized that.
She has a friend. You've already done this part? Okay.
Yeah, I just summarized it so you can play our first TikTok from Julie.
All right. Let me open that one up.
Meet Maura Murray, the early years. My sister Maura was born on May 4th, 1982, to our parents Fred and Laurie Murray. Yes, our mother was gorgeous. She was the youngest child of 4 at the time, Freddie Jr., Kathleen, and myself. Curtis would come later. We grew up in a small town called Hanson on the south shore of Massachusetts. There wasn't much to do in Hanson, so we typically entertained ourselves, which mostly included giving each other shit. As the youngest, Maura adapted. She developed a quick wit to combat her older siblings. It was clear she was super intelligent, as she usually outwitted us. She would beat Freddie and I in chess, although he won't admit it. Her athletic talent also shined through from a young age. In elementary school, she was such a great runner that she set the school record for the 1.5-mile run. But she didn't just beat the girls, she beat the boys. She held the fastest time of any student to ever pass through that school system at the time.
Wow.
As a kid, Maura breathed oxygen into any situation she encountered. She was funny, she was smart, she was athletic, but most importantly, she was kind. She loved to help people. I can't recall a time when anyone has ever said a bad thing about her. Well, except for me, when she didn't share snacks or she beat me in basketball. I mean, that smile and those dimples. How could you not love her? Give me a follow for part 2 of Meet Maura Murray.
Oh, there you go.
And I think that's the next one there. Yeah.
Oh, you want to go right to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Meet Maura Murray, part 2, high school. By the time Maura got to high school, our parents had divorced. Our mother was a single mom with 5 kids working as a nurse, and our dad was always in the picture supporting us with schoolwork and giving us rides to and from practices and meets. He never missed a race. Maura had a tight-knit group of friends who only got closer throughout their years in high school. They were always competing with each other for top of the class. Schoolwork came easy for Maura. She took advanced placement courses and tutored other kids who needed help, myself included. She was on the Latin Club and National Honor Society and scored a 1420, nearly perfect, on the SATs. Now, for most, siblings are annoying, but it was also kind of cool to have a built-in best friend. Maura and I always sat together on the bus to and from track meets, talking strategy and gossiping. She was so nice to me, even when at times I didn't deserve it. Maura was a multi-sport standout, making the varsity basketball team as a freshman. She competed in the state free throw championships held at the Boston Garden, too. I was her ball girl. On the track, she was a phenom. As a sophomore, she qualified for U.S. Nationals and finished 33rd in the country in the 2-mile.
Wow.
She was also a Boston Globe All-Scholastic, which is a huge honor in Massachusetts for any sport. Now, I'm 2 years older than Maura, so I was a cadet at West Point the last 2 years Maura was finishing up high school. She would come to West Point and watch my track meets. I loved West Point, and I talked it up big time to her. We'll talk more about that in part 3. Maura graduated with almost every record in Whitman Hanson school history at the time, and she graduated 4th in her class. Naturally, she had her pick of colleges. Recruiting letters came in from the top schools, Harvard, Yale. But ultimately, she chose to join me at West Point and was awarded a congressional nomination from the late Senator Ted Kennedy. So her college journey began. Give me a follow for part 3.
Are we going straight to part 3?
I don't know that I sent you part 3.
I do have part 3.
Do you?
Well, that's what it said on. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So now we're on to.
She was kind of an amazing person, huh?
Yeah.
Really smart,
Yeah.
super athletic. Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, was that a ton of pressure? I mean, they're saying everything just kind of came easy to her. It wasn't like she was stressed out and like, oh, I don't like doing this. It seemed like she loved sports and school was just easy.
Seemed like a pretty well-rounded girl. I mean, just
Yeah.
a woman, I guess. But she was just really, good athlete, smart. It's weird when you think about that choice right there. She was getting these scholarships from these other schools, but she probably just wanted to go where her sister was. But it's interesting to think if she had, the path not chosen, right? If she had just gone to one of those other schools, every instance in her life would be different, and she'd be out there doing something else.
Absolutely. Should be like, I don't know. What would she have done? She probably would have done something amazing. It's true. I think she really probably wanted to be, they were best friends, only 2 years apart.
Yeah. So there you
Sad.
go.
Do you want to play
Yeah.
part 3?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I thought that showed up on the screen as a video at one point. That's how I knew it was there.
Oh, no, not this one. Mm-mm.
Okay, the part 3. You want me to play that one? Okay.
Yeah.
Meet Maura Murray, part 3. Maura joined me at West Point. The first summer is the toughest. It's called Beast Barracks, aptly named, and it is no joke. I remember visiting Maura during bees to smuggle her in some cookies. I found her crying alone in the barracks, and at that point I knew something was off. She eventually made it through and was doing well on the track and in the classroom her first year. It was during her yuck or sophomore year she started to trip up and make some poor decisions. She took $5 worth of makeup from the post exchange. When I asked her why, she had no answer. She was just embarrassed. I always wonder if that was her cry for help. She went before the cadet run honor committee who would decide her punishment. Now, I have friends who did much worse than that, and they ended up staying at West Point, graduating, and becoming great Army officers. Cadets have to take an oath after their second year, which obligates them to 5 years of military duty. With the pending honor decision and impending decision to commit to a military service, she ultimately decided to withdraw and pursue a nursing career at the University of Massachusetts, an option not offered at West Point. Follow me for Part 4, UMass. Please follow me to learn more about my sister Maura Murray's disappearance.
Okay. So, months prior, leading up to her disappearance, Maura and her dad, they often went hiking. And I think he was doing there's not a contest, but it's like a goal to hike these mountains, these big summits. So it was something he really wanted to do, and she would go with him often. So in October of 2003, they took a trip to help Fred complete his 48th summit of a 4,000-foot mountain. They visited Mount Mansfield, Camel's Hump, Owl's Head, and Westmont. So 2 were in the White Mountains and close to Stowe and Burlington, and that kind of becomes important later. And this is something that I found that was their possible route
when they went on their
of the trips.
Trip. Yeah. When they went on their trip together, this isn't related to the day, obviously, but yeah, I mean.
Right. No, this is the October 2003 trip. And when Gray and I went over this yesterday, he made some great points because I felt like this was important, connected in some way, because I know that they spent a lot of time going up to the mountains, going to New Hampshire, going to Vermont. So to me, I'm like, this seems relevant. I don't know that it is, but if we look on the next page, you'll see that she was looking for a couple of places to stay. So she called Bartlett, New Hampshire for lodging, but she also searched MapQuest directions. And that could just be because she didn't know exactly where the hotel was, right?
Yeah, or just even how to get back to a place. See, like, a lot of times when I go somewhere, like I've been to Bend, Oregon, like I said 1,000 times, but when I go there, I still have my phone map up on there so that I can make sure that I don't miss the right highway turns and various things like that. They didn't even have, I don't think, cell phone mapping back then. It doesn't seem like. So having at least something, a printout would be like, you just put that on the side, and if you need it, you could look at it.
Yeah, that's what she ended up doing, actually. It shows in her car after the crash on the next page, there was a 3x5 index card with 4 directions on it. 91 North, 89 North, US 2, exit 14 towards Burlington. So reports of printed directions to Burlington and Stowe. The Conway piece mentions that Maura printed directions to Burlington and Stowe. There is also a newspaper article in the Caledonian Record that although directions found in her car indicated she may have been headed towards Stowe or Burlington in Vermont, Murray apparently exited Interstate 91 at exit 17 and headed east on Route 302. So I wondered about that when I was looking at the maps. She could have gone this way or that way.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, she went this way. It looks like she just missed that exit itself.
Well, I was wondering, like, right
going
here, so she was, okay, what were the numbers again? It was 90, so 91 North and then 89. So that's exactly what I have here. So if you type in I put the geo coordinates of where her car was found, and starting at the college. And this is the route it gave right here. So it does look like you probably go.
Can you find exit 17 off of Interstate 91 and see where that is?
Let me see. Hold on. So it goes 91, 89 US.
Look over there. Yeah, on what she actually printed.
On the other side.
Yeah, she exited Interstate 91 at exit 17 and headed east on Route 302. So that's what I was wondering.
Well,
is there like
was it over here? This isn't the
a Y turn?
Let's see. So what's this over here compared to this?
That's what was printed. She wrote it out. But if you look to your right, where she actually exited was Interstate 91 at exit 17.
How do they know that?
I
mean,
they do have the black box from the car. I know that. I don't know exactly how they know that. That's why I'm asking you to zoom in, because I think exit 17 is going to be just like that with Route 302. I'm thinking she just took the wrong turn.
See, that's what I was saying when we were talking the other day was, I think this is where she was supposed to turn if you go with the directions that a map would have, Google Earth or something. And you go like this, you take that hard turn or something, but look at that. Like, you would be driving by that and just blow right by it. And then it seems like to me that she went up like this, and then right around in this area, asked like, hey, I feel like I'm going the wrong way, and then somehow then drives. So you can just see how you blow by the wrong spot. There's no really way to turn around. So then you go like this to get back to where you're supposed to be going. But
because it was such a sharp turn, maybe she simply missed it right there.
Yeah.
Which exit is that right there, Gray? Where you have the sharp turn. What is that? You're going in and out really quickly.
I'm looking at something too, because I think she even could have caught that turn, and then here's where she made the mistake, and then drove up like this and then around. You see what I'm saying? There's two times.
Yeah, that's possible.
Absolutely sharp hairpin turns, but let's see.
Yeah, those are really sharp.
Yeah, they're actually more than 90 degrees. They're like going almost backwards after you. Let's see what it says here.
Yeah, what is that one?
Oh, that's 116.
No, she was on
apparently exited
Interstate 91 at exit 17.
So we need to find exit 17, but unfortunately it doesn't ever say, like, you can't type in exit 17. Let's see right here. I guess we could just see what that said. Maybe. That says something about 5 is forward and 10 to the right. 91, 89 US 2. Okay, but this is what it said in the paper. This is what she had written on her notes, right? So headed towards Stowe or Burlington in Vermont, Murray exited Interstate 91 at exit 17. Well, let's try it. Well, here's how we can do it. We can do Route 302. And that probably is it Vermont right here?
I think so.
Just a second. I mean, I don't want to spend a million years on it, but there you go. So I guess she did make it there. Well, they're saying that might be exactly what we were just saying, right? There it is. Look. I mean, so she missed this one, went too far, and then there's 302. And what does it say?
She ended up, that's exactly what happened. And then she headed east. She headed east.
Exactly. There you go.
On 302. She was probably trying to get back around.
So I wonder if 17 is this one. Let's just try two things, and then we'll get back onto the story.
Let's see.
We'll try it. It's a little too far away there. Let me just go right on it so I don't have to. You like my sound effects? Not really.
Yeah, those are great sounds.
Yeah, so that's north on 10. It doesn't say exit, so let's say... So it's either that one... Did we try that one already?
Could be that one, because that one is pretty... Here you go.
It's 5 and 10 again, so I think we already looked at that one. I don't know. I don't know where exit 17 is.
Well, where's 302?
Yeah, I mean, it could be right up here. Like, this is exit 17. You know, either right up here or one of these places, but it looks like they... Let's see if that's an exit right there. Oh, there might be something on here.
What do those signs
That says
say?
302 that way.
Go.
Doesn't say exit 17, however, but...
Well, it's east, so...
Yeah, so I mean, it went... That's what happened, though. It's like somehow she got up here. I don't know where exit 17...
She got up there, she missed a
302.
turn, or she missed the right way to get off, and she ends up on... Because there's no indication
hold
that
on.
she meant to be on Route 302.
I think this might be it. I just realized that was... Let me just...
Not that I can tell.
Come on. Just let it go a little bit
Yeah,
further.
you couldn't just Google anything. It was very different.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just zoom in right here at that exit and see what number that is. Because that would make sense. Oh, come on. Nope, there it is. Exit 17. Yep. All right, so let's just say
Okay,
that's what
so
the
that's
paper
exit
has.
17 right there.
Exit 17.
So she ends up getting off there.
And that makes
See,
sense.
that's not a rough one, though, if she just kept going straight.
So that means she didn't follow, like, this way. Like, that's how the
Right.
quickest way to go. She went all the way up to 91. And so that might have been... Like, I think she missed something down here. Because...
I do, too.
Yeah.
And we got to keep in mind, too, you know, these roads are dark. So maybe she thought she was getting off at the right exit at that point and was headed in the right direction, but
There we
she
go.
ends up on that road.
All right. So it looks like that's how she went. Looks like it's kind of way out of the way. And it doesn't seem like it matched what she had
wanted
written
to do.
down. Right. So I
Yeah,
guess
no,
we
because
could-
she was supposed to go up to exit 14 towards Burlington. So if she just kept going on US 2 to exit 14 to Burlington, that's up there.
Yeah.
See? She would have just kept right on up there past the pin or taken that other, the left on the blue that you had there.
Well, it's interesting that she was going to Burlington, apparently, according to the card, right?
The card that she wrote out. Otherwise, why would she have that there? I would think so.
But it's weird because her dad thought she was heading over to... But then she called the Bartlett Hotel, too, right? Over
She
there.
did call around. She called a couple of places, but she called Burlington. Well, she called, let me see, Bartlett, New Hampshire. She called for lodging, and they said that they had nothing. It was too, you couldn't just call up and say, oh yeah, I want a room today, or can I have a room for tomorrow? They were booked, so they said no. And then she printed out. She didn't print the directions. She had handwritten directions that she printed.
So this is what it says.
She may have printed them too.
Because I did directions from the school to Burlington, and that's exactly the route that she wrote down. So here's 91, 89, and then it goes right into Burlington, just like it
There you
said.
go.
So that's what she was wanting to do, but did right here, she just kept going straight, and then she goes up here and goes that way. That's just weird, you know.
Yeah, I thought that was very odd as well.
Yeah.
But I found something today that I wanted to tell you about. You haven't seen it yet. I just need to find it. I put it in here earlier, and it was affidavit. Let me read this to you real quick, Gray, and to the chat. So I was researching for part 3, and I found this. Supporting affidavit for issuance of a search warrant. I, Todd D. Landry, do hereby depose and say, 1. I am currently employed by the state police and have been for the past 10 years. Currently, I am assigned as a detective at Troop F in Twin Mountain, New Hampshire. I have received extensive training in the investigation of criminal matters. 2. On February 9, 2004, at 1727, the Haverhill, New Hampshire Police Department responded to a single motor vehicle car crash on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Upon arrival, Sergeant Cecil Smith was unable to locate the driver of a vehicle. Subsequent investigation determined that the driver of the vehicle was Maura Murray, 22 Walker Street in Weymouth. 3. A witness at the scene later confirmed that the driver was in fact Murray. And 4. An extensive search of the area has been conducted and Murray was not located. Now here's the important part. 5. During the course of the investigation, cellular telephone records have been obtained by law enforcement that were used by Murray. A representative from the Sprint Corporate Security advised this affidavit. What do you call somebody who is doing an affidavit? It's AFFIANT.
No, like
Affiant.
Affiant. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said affiant.
I wish I quit using that. I always hate that. It's like the expert
yeah,
that's talking.
I don't like that word.
Yeah.
In any case, they advised him that during the late afternoon hours of February 9th, 2004, an outgoing telephone call was made to Murray from the Londonderry, New Hampshire Sprint Tower. This call had to have been made from within a 22-mile radius of the tower. The identity of this caller and the telephone number has not been identified as of this date. 6. The identity of the caller of the telephone call could be pertinent to the ongoing investigation and may lead to the whereabouts of Maura Murray. 7. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to believe evidence in the suspicious disappearance of Maura may be found through Sprint wireless cell phone, tower telephone records, including any outgoing calls from the Londonderry Tower of Sprint to Maura's phone, and then they put in her phone number, but it's redacted, for February 9th, 2004. So I'm thinking if somebody called her while she was driving from Londonderry, New Hampshire.
How do you spell that? I don't see it in there.
London.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's the whole word, Londonderry.
Londonderry.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
Okay.
New Hampshire.
That's way down here.
So maybe she was going to turn around and go back down there.
What time was that at?
They said it was late afternoon.
I see.
So when I found that today, I hadn't seen that in many reports. So I was like, well, that's interesting. What if somebody called her and she was like, all right, I'm not going to go to Burlington. I'm going to go this way. Give me 1 sec. My son's home.
Yeah, so that's the 20-mile radius that they're talking about. So that's weird. That means she had to have been inside of this during that time. So why would she go over here first? That's totally out of the way. Weird, you guys. Weird stuff. Absolutely crazy. So she was supposed to go 89 or 91 to 89 and then into Burlington. Well, we don't know if she was supposed to do that. She had that on a card. But then she ends up here staying on 91, missing another. I mean, look at that crazy spot that you would have had to know to go around that loop and to go that way. She just went, well, let's see what it looked like in, was that even there? Yeah, so 94 it's even there. So 2003, obviously. So she would have had to know to hit that to stay on that, but she probably just missed it. Kept going that way, but then again, how the hell did she ping inside of that circle over there?
There you go. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of weird.
They said
way out of the way. I mean, that's just
22-mile radius of the tower. I don't know where the tower is.
I have it at 20 miles, but I mean, it's still in that same general. That's crazy.
And she didn't ping there. It says the call was made from within a 22-mile radius of the tower.
Oh.
Somebody in that area was calling her. Could it have been a hotel maybe that she called?
So
it wasn't Maura
her
calling anybody from there.
Okay, so she wasn't.
They called her from there.
So somebody in here, how come they weren't able to, track who the hell made the call? I mean, that seems so simple.
I don't think they'll. Either they did and they won't release it for whatever reason. Nobody's come forward and said, oh, no, I called her.
Well, of course.
And if you're looking on her cell phone records, remember, they released those cell phone records because Bill and Maura were on the same plan under Sharon, the mother. But I don't know who it was.
All right. Well, let's get back to this.
Yeah, I'm going to find out if the sister knows anything about that as well. Yep. I found it very interesting. So, all right, West Point. In that TikTok, that part, whatever, it was relevant to this, which is why we didn't have it in order, part 3. So, like we said earlier, she attended for 18 months and she transferred in 2002 to UMass. And according to her family and friends, this is Bill, the boyfriend, saying, West Point will do that to people. His class had started with 1,200 and finished with 900. That's the great thing about West Point. It forces you to grow up quick and figure out exactly what you want. To Murray's father, Fred Murray of Weymouth, it was a surprise, but not a shock that she wanted to pursue a nursing degree at UMass. He graduated from that school, and her mother, Lori, is a nurse. The decision to leave West Point after her freshman year wasn't a rash one, says her boyfriend.
Want me to read some of these? Or?
Yeah.
In August of 2001, Maura got into a bit of trouble at West Point. She took makeup from the commissary. According to family, Maura had money, so they cannot understand why she would do that. Her sister, Julie, reveals a bit more about why Maura may have left, as well as some personal info. Is that the one we already played?
Yeah, we listened to one, but then there's another when she has on the beige jacket.
Okay. Well,
if you skip the next one and go to the next one.
Meet Maura Murray, you got part 4.
That's the right one?
It's that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Maura transferred to UMass Amherst, where she got her first taste of a true college experience. No more marching around in a uniform and being told what to do and when to do it and how to do it. Basic freedoms you don't get as a cadet at West Point, where every waking moment is programmed. She was accepted into the competitive nursing program at UMass and made the cross-country and track teams. She picked up 2 jobs to make some extra cash, one as dorm security and one at an art gallery. She continued an on and off again long-distance relationship with her boyfriend that she met at West Point. And she continued to be as sweet as ever, sending me notes and care packages to South Korea, where I was stationed as a lieutenant in the Army. She was much closer to home, so she was able to spend time with my mother and Kathleen, and also go hiking in the White Mountains with my dad and my brother Freddie and Curtis. Maura made some friends at school and maintained friendships from West Point in high school. But things were not all rosy. She was struggling with disordered eating, which I think had more of a stranglehold on her than she even realized. Like many young people, it was a way for her to cope with stress and get a false sense of control. Many of my type A friends at West Point struggled with this as well. But this is something that hurts me to talk about because I deeply regret not doing more for her while she was struggling with such a crippling disorder. I believe it was a catalyst for a series of terrible decisions she made leading up to her disappearance. She was doing things way out of character, and I know she felt deeply ashamed. That was the condensed version. Follow me for deeper dive videos in the future.
Yeah, so it seems to me like she was just trying to get a, some sort of feeling of like excitement, like we were talking about yesterday. Like she has the money to buy these things, and then later we find like she does other things similar to that. So there's really no reason to do it because you had the money, other than to get some sort of satisfaction of
rush out of it or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But she worked 2 jobs. She was an excellent student, athlete, sister, friend, daughter, no problem. She had an on again, off again relationship. She may have been stressed about that. She did have an eating situation going on. We can see by the amount of food that she was ordering, it was not a normal amount if it was only for one person. But she was using somebody else's credit card. I've heard a couple of varying stories on where she got it. She said that she found a receipt, and maybe back then the receipts had the whole card number on it. I don't really remember, but she said, I found it and I used it. She really didn't give a reason. She just did it, and she had local pizza deliveries.
How long do you think, does it mention anywhere that she had this disorder?
That she had that? No, that was the first time I heard it, was from Julie.
Because it's interesting, in a little bit we'll hear more about the dynamic between her and Bill.
Yeah.
But you sort of wonder if maybe he has something to do with that, because if you tell somebody something over and over and over and over again, like let's say you think, oh, you're fat, you're
gaining weight.
Yeah.
You're looking a little chubby there.
Yeah, so might have something to do with it, but if it was prior to that, it might not have anything to do with Bill at all. So
right.
Move on to the next one.
Yep.
Oh.
So no.
That's the one. See, that's
we already saw that one.
That's what I was saying. The picture was in here. All right. And
so we just talked about that, and then the next one is the Amherst Police Department incident report, and it happened November 3rd, 2003. So it's a month after her and her dad went hiking. This ends up happening. Do you want to read this one, Gray?
Yeah, let's see. Just before midnight from Pinocchio's.
Pinocchio's is a pizza place.
From
Yeah.
Pinocchio's called and advised of an attempt by the resident of Kennedy Dorm to purchase some food on the stolen credit card number. Since he had just spoken to Officer Rivera regarding the credit card purchase, he asked the person on the phone how they wished to pay for the food, which they stated they were using a credit card. He had them give the number over the phone, which matched the number Officer Rivera had advised him was a stolen number. Since their policy is to contact the person calling the order back using the phone number given, he contacted Officer Rivera first to ask what he would do, or what he should do. A decision was made to print out a receipt and have the delivery driver go to the address and follow their protocol for delivering the food. Once the person came down to sign for the food, 2 Amherst police officers would approach and identify the person. Since no actual food was being made for that order, the delivery driver would just walk away. Now it's almost like a sting, Then
it was, because the person who owned the card reported, hey, my card's being used here.
Wow. Then contacted the person ordering the food and advised them it would be approximately 15 minutes before it was delivered.
Mm-hmm. Once the delivery driver for Pinocchio's was explained what he needed to do by Officer Reardon and Officer Pinkham, he was allowed to go to the Kennedy dorm. At that time, Officer Reardon and Officer Pinkham watched the delivery driver hand a receipt to a female, at which time they began to walk over. As the female turned back around to hand the receipt over after signing it, she encountered the 2 officers. The delivery driver at this time had left and resumed his normal deliveries. The 2 officers identified her and went upstairs to verify her credit card number and advised her of the investigation. 2 officers advised Officer Rivera of the outcome of the sting and gave all relevant information of the female's identity. She was also advised Rivera would be contacting her for an interview regarding these unauthorized purchases. Then there was a little bit cut off, but they pulled her aside, they questioned her, they did not arrest her, and she did not give any reason to why she was using the credit card.
Well,
they weren't even sure how she got this credit card number.
That's what I was wondering. Was like, that part concerns me a little bit. Like, that takes a little extra level. So we're all focused in on the buying, using a stolen credit card number. But then you think, but what was the process of getting the number prior to that? That's a little bit more, right? Like, did she?
I mean, it says
work somewhere.
Yeah. She was working somewhere, so she worked at an art gallery. So somebody could have paid with a credit card, and she ended up getting that number. I don't know.
Yeah, that's sort of interesting. That's takes extra work there. It's not like just grabbing makeup, like you just grabbed it and left. This is something where you thought about it earlier, like premeditation. I mean, it really, that's what that is, right? So she thought about it. She got the credit card number, ordered the pizza, But there was absolutely no reason for her to do it. That's the thing.
No, there wasn't, because they told her, you're going to be charged. You're going to have to go to court. She said she wanted to apologize to the person and make restitution payments. And he advised her that, her cooperation would be noted. The total amount for the illegal purchases was like $79. And, so they completed it. It shows the receipt on the next page here. And those are the ones that were her here. I mean, the Pinocchios, she says the Papagenos wasn't hers, but there's a Domino's and there's some other ones. It came out to be, $79. So, that happened in November at UMass. So before UMass, she was dealing with the issue of the $5 worth of makeup at West Point, right? But she ends up transferring anyway. She still attends school there after the incident, and Julie will go on to explain that. But it wasn't as though she got into trouble and they kicked her out of school. That didn't happen. She had what they call like an honors hearing, in which Bill was one of the people at the hearing, and he was allegedly going to help her or something. But she wasn't thrown out. She just decided, I'm not going to do this. And I think one of the big rumors I used to hear was she was thrown out of West Point, which wasn't true.
Yeah, that's what I it's even in podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. All right.
Oh,
Well, do you have any thoughts on, somebody in the chat said that was her roommate's credit card. I don't know.
Could have been the roommate's credit card.
Could be
I've
anybody's
heard
credit card.
various things. I've heard she found it in the bathroom. I've heard that it could have been the roommate's. I've heard she got it from somebody at the art gallery. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know whose card it was. I don't know that it matters whose card it was.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't matter.
I guess it could matter. If you see a credit card just sitting there and you write down the number in your dorm room, but she had a single room. She didn't even have a roommate.
Yeah, she didn't have a roommate. So how'd that happen?
Yeah.
See, somebody in the chat said, I read that a roommate had it. So it's like, well, she didn't have a roommate at that time.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't believe so. They were single dorms as far as I know. But remember, after Christmas break, that was a new room. So she may have had a roommate before that.
And by the way, what she just said will be important. Remember the boxes, everybody? Not so weird at this point now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so anyways.
Not so weird, the boxes.
Maura and Bill.
Maura and Bill. This is really the... we're just going to handle this with as much respect as we can.
Yeah.
However... the facts are the facts, and they are what they are. So completely separate issue, keeps his name in her case constantly. So he became an Army major, and he was indicted in D.C. for an alleged 2011 sexual abuse incident where the victim reported an alleged attack to police after her assailant's name appeared in an unrelated cold case, which is Maura, right? So,
and this is and this indictment's more recently, right? Like,
there's more stuff happening still up till But after work on St. Patty's Day in 2011, Pattison and some of her coworkers at the Ray Group left work a little early for happy hour. It was unseasonably warm, and she remembers they left their jackets back at the office. After a drink or two at the bar near the White House, the group returned to the office to retrieve their coats. On her way out, Pattison got locked between two sets of doors, and Roush, who's Bill, was still in the office. He hadn't accompanied the group to the bar. He came to let her out. She says that Roush asked her to follow him to an office because he needed to talk to her. Once inside, she recalls Roush closing the doors behind them, and he's laughing. He asks her if she remembers the day she came into the office after having been pushed down the metro escalator at McPherson Square. She did remember. A few months prior, someone shoved her down the long metro escalator on her way to work. Someone broke her fall, and she says she looked up and saw Roush turning the corner at the top. She confronted him about the incident that morning, but he denied any involvement at all. He was like, oh, no, that wasn't me. But it was him. So this is where we're trying to be careful, right? Gray and I went over this in great detail yesterday, but, there is a person who extensively covers Maura's case. And I listened again this morning to the women making their claims. I listened to exactly what they had to say. I'm just trying to be, really careful for our channel. I heard their accounts. Do they sound credible? They do sound credible. And they went on to discuss his behavior and the things that he did. So in here, I say, this is all alleged because we don't know exactly who they are. And, everybody who talks about Bill says Bill and Maura had a solid relationship. I don't know how true that is. We may be able to get more information from Julie or other people who do blogs or podcasts on Maura, but I don't want to attack Bill and insinuate that he did anything to her. But I will say his overall behavior is very concerning.
Yeah, it seems controlling and, very strange. I don't know if we're going to go through that. We talked about it yesterday. Now I don't remember if this was in this or not, but, it makes you wonder about Maura's mindset that night. And how truthful it was, we had a great call and that kind of thing right before or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah,
we do need to go over the part where everybody believes that the last phone call she had and the reason she was so upset was because of one of her sisters. But if we're looking at the phone logs, and I do want to double check, but I believe the last person she talked to before the supervisor found her that way was Bill. I saw a 6 or 7 minute phone call, but I do want to verify that, which we'll do in the next part, just to be positive and show the phone record and say, no, it actually was him she spoke to that night.
Yeah.
As I think that's concerning. If it wasn't her sister and it was him.
Well, it is if you take into account the things that the other women have said and his overall personality, you could see, or alleged personality, you could see how Maura could have been really upset about something and decided to take off.
Yep. So there they are together. You want to take this one?
Yeah, Bill and Maura had been dating since 2001. They were introduced by Julie, Maura's sister. According to Bill's mom, the two planned on getting married. Maura had allegedly lined up a job for the summer of 2004 to be in Oklahoma where Bill was. After Maura went missing, there were rumors of cheating on both parties. Bill has stated he received a whimpering call from who he believed to be Maura sometime directly after she disappeared. There have been many theories on whether or not Bill was somehow involved in Maura's disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is haven't they been able to just absolutely prove that he wasn't there, or is that just like he says he wasn't there?
I believe that they've proved that he was in Oklahoma, as it says here from his website, though. Mm-hmm. In 2004, I was the lieutenant in the Army stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I had a good job, close friends, and a loving girlfriend, Maura Murray. On February 10th, 2004, my world was turned upside down when I received a call from Maura's father, Fred. He told me her car was found on the side of the road in New Hampshire, and Maura was nowhere to be found. She was missing. So to me, that says clearly he wasn't there. But if you listen, and there's so much to listen to of people who've either communicated with him, he gets there with his dad, and they go searching on their own. There are no calls made from his cell phone for several days. He's using like the hotel phone. There's other issues where she's lost or she's missing, and he's not calling her phone. He's calling her dorm mate's phone. They're just a lot of strange things that if you let your mind get carried away with you, you can think, what happened here? But if he wasn't there on the road in New Hampshire, then could he be involved in some crazy way?
Oklahoma isn't really close to New Hampshire. I mean,
it is not. No.
You'd have to, figure out a way to get there and back, follow her on a road somewhere. Just doesn't make a lot of sense.
He didn't even know she was going there. Well, we don't think he knew she was going there. According to him, he didn't know that.
It seems to me like his involvement in terms of what may have happened is maybe her mindset.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, we haven't done this one yet. Okay, so the only person outside of law enforcement that was in the dorm room was Maura's boyfriend. So how are we getting to this? We're just going to go straight into this?
This is his mother made this statement on November 29th of 2005, and she's describing what her son, she's been very outspoken for her son, Sharon has.
Okay.
She was in the oxygen space. She's all over the place. And she insists that they were solid, they were great, they were talking about marriage. But she did make this statement, and I kind of did think that it was relevant because everybody was saying her room was packed up to move away or to never return, but I don't believe that to be true. But
so it says the only person outside of law enforcement that was in the dorm room was Maura's boyfriend. The only thing he told the family was that there was a WP sweatshirt, all of the stuffed animals that he had given her, and all of the cards and letters that he mailed to her on the bed. So that sort of signifies a little bit like she was throwing aside stuff from him and taking off. So, again, that sort of implies a little bit of, being angry.
There was something going on.
Yeah.
The email. Now, here is what I heard about the email today as I was researching. That email, the paper that was left, whatever it was, the letter, the email, it was about an email that he sent her previously saying that he in fact had cheated. Now, there is a different whole rumor that Maura was also having her own situation with one of the coaches. I've never been able to verify that. I don't know enough about it, but it is something that I'll ask. So maybe they were both kind of just, they were in love and they wanted to be together, but because they were far apart, they both, did a little whatever. It's college.
Yeah, it's college.
It's very possible.
Okay, so that's more.
Those are photos of her room.
She liked monkeys.
She loved monkeys.
So when you look at the room that we were talking about, it doesn't look like everything's packed up, right? And
she just returned from winter break.
And she was in a new room too, so maybe
this was a new room.
Yeah, so that totally explains that. It's weird how that story just keeps going and going and going about the boxes being packed, but as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, oh, well, that's a non-issue anymore at all. It means absolutely nothing. Yeah.
MEP says, Fred has also spoke highly of Bill. I think so. I think even within the last couple of years, Fred has said something to the effect of Bill was the salt of the earth, or Bill is the salt of the earth. So that's, if he really felt like this guy was not being a good man to his daughter, but at the same time, your daughter's going to give you limited information. She's not going to say, I'm dealing with all this with Bill because you want your parents to like your boyfriend. You're going to probably confide in your sister, but I don't think you're going to tell your dad,
Mm-hmm.
He cheated, I cheated, we're fighting, those aren't these you tell your dad. But all of these statements coming up here are directly from Bill. Okay. So these are all Bill's words, directly from the internet. All I did was copy and paste them. We made no adjustments to them whatsoever. These are his words.
Do you want me to be Bill? Okay.
Well, it's all Bill.
Yeah. NHSP also refused to ask them for help after receiving a tip Maura was seen at a gas station off an exit north of I-91 in Vermont. My father and I drove there to investigate, and the woman who called in the tip had left work and we were unable to interview her. At this point, we had already met several neighbors near the accident scene who had not spoken with the police, so we were conducting our own interviews and then sharing them with law enforcement. We returned to ask NHSP to invite the FBI into the investigation. Given the tip coming from Vermont, they refused. After that, we contacted a family friend at the FBI in the Midwest who contacted his counterpart in New England, which generated an offer from the FBI to NHSP for assistance. NHSP refused. What a tragedy that is. FBI is so good at the cell phone stuff and tracking. It's just incredible.
I know.
I mean,
That's so frustrating. Why would the state police refuse this?
It's just
Why?
egos, you know. A lot of times, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, now you could, you know, if you went down the conspiracy route, because a lot of people think law enforcement, somebody was involved, then you go, you know, then you could go that way. But to me, it's just a lot of times it's ego. We'll figure it out. We don't need the help from. Right.
We don't need the help. Yeah.
So during the days and weeks after Maura's disappearance, we made a significant effort to have the FBI take over the case, and the NHSP would not entertain the idea. It was our understanding at the time that a formal offer was made by the FBI and refused by local law enforcement.
Oof. And we read this before, but she did email him on February 9th, just saying, I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking to much of anyone. I promise to call you today, though. I love you, Maura.
So was this after the phone call or before it? You know that phone call that...
After.
See, that's weird.
She goes missing on this day. She
Right.
emails her teachers, she emails him, and then she leaves him a voicemail, and then she looks for directions and all of that.
So they must have worked through, like, let's say they did get in a big argument that one night. What day was that, the 7th?
But she never answered him, right? So she wasn't answering his calls. That's the issue, is so whatever happened at the night she was working and sitting there, then you've got the next day where I don't know if they've talked. I'm going to get those phone records so that we can go through them.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was going on. My understanding is he was calling her. She was not picking up the phone. He was calling Kate, which is another girl, to get her to get Maura to answer the phone. And Kate wasn't answering the phone. So something was happening there where he really wanted to talk to her and she wasn't going for it.
But it's interesting that she would answer in such a kind of loving, I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking to much of anyone. I promise to call you today, though. Love you more. Love you. It doesn't say I love you, but at the same time, it's just so.
Yeah.
But she might know how to control. Like she might know how to.
It's woman talk.
Yeah.
Right there.
Is it?
I'm really annoyed with you right now.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I love you, but you know what? I don't even want to talk to you because I might smack your face.
Are you talking to me right now?
No, that's woman code.
Wow.
Am I right, ladies? If you're arguing with your man, and then
but stud, she
you
used the
see
word
this
stud.
message, stud is just a nickname. It's like I call Scott Bubba. Same thing. It's just kind of like, okay, stop calling me.
Oh, so it is girl code.
You're getting on my nerves.
Okay, we need to add the girl code emoji to this channel. I'm going to do it. So you guys become channel members so we can get more emojis added, okay?
Yeah, it's like snarky, like, nobody has time for this right now. Stop.
Yeah.
So, I love you, but...
that was weird. Okay.
And you also have to pacify controlling type of men. So if he's calling, you're just like, I love you, but I'm kind of just not in the mood to talk to anybody, but I will call you later. That gives you time to just process in your head whatever it is you're dealing with, especially if he's somebody that I call you, you don't answer me, so I'm going to call your dorm phone. You don't answer that. I'm going to call your friend. You don't answer that. I'm going to call her cell phone. I'm going to call you back. I could lose it with somebody like that.
Yeah,
so a controlling person.
I think it was a pacifying. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, all right. On Maura's mindset or her destination, he says, during our time together over the holidays, because again, they're just getting back from winter break, we had a really lovely time together. She was happy, and we both enjoyed seeing family and friends. She was already planning for the upcoming summer when we planned to spend more time together. We communicated daily, and the only time I realized she was upset was after she called me not long after having the accident in her dad's car. While she was initially upset, she seemed fine by the time we got off the phone. I wish something would have tipped me off to her taking a trip to New Hampshire, and most of all, I wish she would have never been in that accident. If that accident doesn't happen, I believe strongly that Maura would be with us today. I was in Oklahoma the weekend before she disappeared, so I wasn't physically with her to gauge her mindset. I was worried about her after the car accident in the Corolla, which she called and told me about. She did not suggest or mention getting away. I was aware that Fred was visiting and that they were car shopping that weekend. That sentence bothered Gray yesterday. Does it bother any of you?
Yeah, it might not, but to me it did. Because, well, I guess if it doesn't bother them, it doesn't bother. But to me it meant something like, I wish something would have tipped me off to her taking a trip. To me, he knew why she was taking that trip. So that's his saying he didn't know in a different type of way. Like, it seems to me like he would have known.
You feel like he knew?
Yeah, he knew, and he's saying, I wish something would have tipped me off. Because it's an odd thing to add in there. It's like, it just, you don't need that in there. You're wanting people to know that you had no idea of why she wandered away by putting that in there. Or she drove away. Right. So, I don't know, it bothered me, so that's why I was going to highlight it again. It stands out every single time.
Yeah, yesterday you were like...
Yeah, you don't know, but I think that's what it means, is that he's trying to let people know that he just had no idea. Everything was so great. But he probably knows exactly why she was upset and why she drove away. That's my opinion, anyways. It's alleged. All right, we on to the next page. All right. While it's possible she was going to meet someone, there's no evidence to suggest she was. I've always assumed she was taking a break in a place she loved, her love of New Hampshire being something she often wrote me about. But I could be completely wrong. I agree that everyone seems to be at a loss for why she left UMass. In my opinion, that might be why there are so many wild theories out there, especially as people start to replace facts. Maura loved her father more than anyone with fiction. Maura was running away from her father in promoting certain theories over others. I think that the dad thing is so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, it seemed like a regular dad-daughter relationship,
For sure.
Yeah. I can say confidentially that Maura was likely not mentally ill. She did, however, have issues and challenges. Well, she probably wasn't mentally ill, but she definitely had some things going on, right? Things that have and should be considered in her disappearance. Mental health is a serious topic, and those suffering should not be ashamed because they are not alone. Yeah.
Okay. On whether or not Maura was planning to return. And so he's answering some questions, right? I'm unsure if you are suggesting Maura ran away. It's clear to me that she wasn't running away, and the evidence in her car, her emails, her letters, her phone calls, etc., all point to her returning to school. I can appreciate that this is probably debated on this sub. I don't believe Maura did anything wrong. I'm unsure if folks here understand how bold and independent she was. She definitely should have been driving the Saturn, but am I surprised she did? No. On the condition of the Saturn, the car had several issues and was not reliable. She knew she shouldn't be driving it, and I can't speak to if or why she did or didn't try to drive that Saturn after the accident. On her love of New Hampshire and hiking, it was her home away from home 100%. Not only was it a place with fond childhood memories, it was a place that remained a key part of her life. From high school to college, UMass or USMA to UMass, USMA, US
Army.
Military maybe,
Yeah.
Army. Those 4,000-foot hikes, New Year's Eve parties with her friends there, and the list goes on.
Maybe U.S. Military Academy, maybe.
Probably, yeah. I think he's just trying to give us, some insight. His perception of who she was and what she was doing.
Let's see. So this is on Maura's dorm room. Maura and I last saw each other over Christmas break. Correct. The email Maura sent her high school friends that someone recently posted is a good source for that. I did go into her dorm room during the search. That was the first time I had been on campus in 2004. The first time I heard the theory of Maura not unpacking her room was during an hour-long phone call I had with the Texas Crew production team prior to the release of the Oxygen series. So you hadn't... when was that released, by the way? I mean, that was like years later, wasn't it?
Yes. These are not old posts.
Right, but
he was posting for a long time on these Reddit forums.
But he's saying that he hadn't heard about it until the Oxygen. So that was way later that he heard about it. According to the link below, classes at UMass started on Wednesday, January 28, 2004. I specifically recall a large suitcase I recognized on her bed. I believe there were boxes and or other bags as well. I recall nothing being stacked too high on the bed. I believe UMass police had already been in the room, although I'm not certain of that. Seems like a fair assumption. I remember at least one officer going into the room with us, although both may have. I want to say she had a printer in her room, although I can't say for certain she did, and do not specifically remember seeing one in her room.
Okay.
I'll just finish it. To be clear, I do not know if Maura packed up her room or never unpacked. Our initial assumption was that it was packed up. I had not heard the idea that Maura never unpacked until an hour-long convo, I guess it's saying it again, right? With the producers of the Oxygen special, who asked me if it was possible she never unpacked. I believe I'm the only one on Reddit that was in her dorm room, and I do not know if Maura packed it up or if she never unpacked it. Some believe it was packed up. Others believe it wasn't unpacked, as she had just moved into the room. I mean, that just makes all the sense in the world.
She had just moved in.
Right. I mean, it's like, it's just... See, the people that want it to be that she's packing it up are ones that are looking for a new angle to move on to a conspiracy theory. A tremendously more likely scenario is she moved into the room and she just hadn't unpacked all of her stuff yet.
Right. And I always thought, until we did this, before this digging, I was like, well, her whole room was packed.
Yeah,
so she was probably really going somewhere, because that's what I've always heard.
Exactly.
I've always heard she was packed, she was out of here. Yeah. And now it's like, wait, this was a new room and she just moved into it a week before? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So it's a frustrating thing because you believe this all these years.
Yeah.
And then you find out, no, that was crap.
I know. Isn't that just, it's crazy. And she looks like maybe she took her radio out and stuff, the little comforts that you get.
She was starting, to unpack. She's listening to her radio. She has her computer. She put her monkey back up. I mean, she's unpacking. Some of the clothes are hung up in the closet. Yeah,
she's just taking her time. She's probably busy doing work, doing other things, and just, it's just, it makes all the sense in the world. And to me, it's just, I just wipe out now that she was packing up. All right. On the email note, said to be left in the dorm room.
The cheating one, yeah.
Okay. There was no there was no recently received personal note on top of boxes when I was in her dorm. I did find an email from O2 tucked into the pages of a basketball program that was beside her desk. There was no note that I'm aware of. However, there was an email. In my opinion, the note NHSP referred to is probably the email. I don't know if people would say a note if it was an email. Do you? I mean, it's sort of...
that's what he asked. Why would they call it a note and not an email? I have no idea.
Yeah. See, a note's usually something
he
written.
Gives a reason for it right there.
Why would they call it... Oh, there you go. Why would they call it a note and not an email? I have no idea. It could be a generational thing with the older officers considering a printed out email a note. It could be an effort to support their theory she was suicidal, or there could be a note they didn't tell me about. This seems unlikely as they shared everything else with us. or I'm a liar and I've convinced my parents, the Murrays, the McDonalds, and Maura's friends there wasn't a note when there was in fact one, or convinced them to lie and join me in the conspiracy. I did discuss the email with law enforcement while answering their questions about the topic of the email. I talked to them about anything and everything that we or they could think of to try and help. I was at the police station nearly every day, if not every day, while I was in New Hampshire, and we were in direct communication during the search. I recall standing beside her desk when I read or saw the email. I do not recall if it was on her desk or perhaps on top of boxes beside her desk.
Okay, so the note was from 2002, or the email, according to him. I haven't heard anything to the contrary yet. However, in the telling of Maura's story, this is a note that he wrote her in recent time, in the time of her packing all his belongings up, and left the note on top of everything to kind of say, screw you, because you cheated, right? So my understanding now is, yes, he may have cheated 2 years prior to that, and she maybe had that email out for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he found out that allegedly there was a party, Gray. So there was a party the weekend before she goes missing. My understanding is he wasn't too pleased that she was at the party. She was at Sarah's dorm room, or off campus. There's debates about that. And she may or may not have left with one of the girl's cousins, who was a male. I don't know if that information got back to him, but maybe he was trying to make her feel bad, and she printed out that letter, and was thinking, well, you cheated on me. Like, who do you think you are? Yeah. Who knows? I
guess we'd have to see it to know.
Yeah, you'd have to know exactly what it said. I don't know, but I do want to know now.
Yeah, well, is it out there to know about?
I don't think so.
Right.
I haven't been able to find it, but I do want to know exactly what it said.
Right. Yeah. I want to know, but every time when I find something that I know that I won't get to know, I just go on to something else.
Yeah. Like the phone calls. You can do that while I go look for the email.
Okay. No, yeah. Right now? You're going to look for it right now?
I'm going to look right now.
Okay. It says, looking back, I don't know if it was Maura. Let's see. On the Whimpering call. So that's what they're talking about. He's talking about right now. Looking back, I don't know if it was Maura, although I believe it to be at the time. So at the time, he thought it was her. I received the voicemail while going through airport security at the Roy Rogers Airport in OKC the morning of February 11th. I never spoke with the alleged caller from the Red Cross, because that's apparently where the Whimpering call came from, was the Red Cross. I took the police at their word. In hindsight, given shortcomings in their investigation, I regret not trusting but verifying what they said. I don't recall if or how police made or received a copy. I do know they listened to it because I remember sitting beside one or both members of the NHSP involved in the search and playing them the voicemail several times. And he says, yes, I believed it was Maura. And the call came in on 2 days after her car crash at, looks like 5:34 a.m.
Mm-hmm. He was notified in the afternoon of February 10th. He gets a flight, and he's in the airport still, and he listens to his voicemail, and he says it's this Whimpering call. And he, at the time, truly believed it was her. P.S. I did find information. So, on this email, I'm going to read it to you. What I have is an article from the Daily Collegian in January 25th, 2005, in an interview done with Lieutenant John Scarinza. I think Scarinza. He was the main person on the case for a long time. He claimed Authorities had found a note in Maura's dorm room that she wrote to her boyfriend Billy, indicating troubles in the relationship sometime between Sunday and Monday. She packed up all of her belongings in her dorm room, including taking all of her pictures off the wall, taking everything out of the dressers and putting them in boxes, and left them on her bed. Now, again, walking in there, it completely could look like that's exactly what happened. Now, I'm
No way.
confused because was the note from Bill in 2002, or was it a note she wrote him at that time? So that's very interesting. I don't know what it was.
So they still don't
Does
explain what the
anybody
note
else know?
was, right?
Well, it's one of two things. It's either an old email from him in 2002, or she wrote it because they were having problems
Well, what did it
and
say
left
specifically?
him a note. Nobody says what it says.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So without knowing what it says, it could
they
say,
kept it
"Hey, I
private.
love you, sweetheart. We'll see you at the." It's like it doesn't.
No, he said, the lieutenant said, she wrote him an email detailing problems in their relationship. He didn't
Ah,
say when it
well,
was
there you
dated
go.
either.
And so that's the whole, the whole deal. That's what I'm saying. I think his behavior probably is what led to her wanting to take off for that day. Hence why he makes comments like, I wish I'd known why she was, that she was taking off. I wish I knew. Well, you knew that she was taking off because of how I think that it makes sense to me that she left because of something, a problem they were having. And I think it's to me it's obvious that that's what it was. She didn't just, you probably kind of think there's all these other things kicking in, right?
No.
To me it seems like
Not
their
necessarily.
relationship wasn't very good. She was really upset. And if it's true that was the last call, that one on the 7th, right? Then maybe that's what she was really upset about. I can see the look on your face. You're just not sure
No,
why
I'm not
she was
sure.
leaving. I feel like I'm 80% like that's why she was leaving.
Oh my gosh, you've been researching this all of 22 seconds.
No,
you're sure of what happened,
No,
right?
I've covered the case for years. Not like deep like this, but yeah. My thing is, I think that's what it was. Is that at this point, without getting into the 90 other parts, it seems like she left because they were having problems.
It could have been.
And she just wanted
Was
to get
she
away.
so attached to this guy that his behavior would cause that with her?
Yeah.
Or was the truth that she was actually seeing somebody else and she didn't want to be in the relationship anymore? Or
But see, that would still be related to that. She doesn't want to be in with him because
why
he's
would she
kinda-
run?
Right. See, that's the thing that sort of took away that argument part. Like if she wanted to be with somebody else, she probably just would have gone and hung out with that guy in a specific place. Instead, she was calling around looking for a place for her to go to kind of... it's weird that case that's out there right now is so similar to that Marone, that teacher. Because it's
the teacher,
like she
from
left
Massachusetts and now she's lost in New York, Connecticut.
Well,
Where is she?
I think she's in Massachusetts, but was from New York. But it's just so weird how it's sort of similar like that. Like she goes to a hotel somewhere. She finds this place to go veg out because she's stressed out about something at work. And then she goes to a park and she just vanishes too. It's almost exactly... it's so weird how similar that aspect of it is.
It is crazy that... Oh my goodness, my son, hi. Can you hear him?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
Wait, what happened? What?
He makes really crazy sounds sometimes. So if you can't hear him, then this mic is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Julie addressing the whimpering call. And then we're going to read about Sharon's reaction to what she thinks it was about.
All right, let me see. So this was number...
And Sharon, again, is Billy's mother.
Do I have this one? This is the...
You do.
Is that the
whimpering
unpacking?
call?
Huh.
With the telephone behind it?
Well, my images look like... They don't look the same. They have...
I can just play it from here if you want.
Okay, the phone.
We can just listen to it.
I have the.
I don't know if we have to see it.
Like I have part 1, 2, 3, 4, and unpacking, and then that's it. Just 5 videos. That's all I have.
All right, I'll just play it from this end.
It's really quiet.
Hold on. Turn it up. Go.
About 36 hours after Maura Phil received Steven's phone call. Let me tell you about it. Phil had a missed call with his kids. Listen to the voicemail. We heard listening to the whimpering.
It's too quiet. I don't think anybody can hear that.
That in of itself was just a woman breathing and then possibly a whimper or some sort of noise at the end, which we believe to be her.
My dad also heard the message. Here's what he had to say.
It was unintelligible. I didn't hear whimpering.
The Interstate police said they tracked it to a Red Cross calling card. So many questions. The ability. Constable Andrews, unsafe.
So those are good questions, right? Did he qualify for leave? Because the Red Cross does call. They do provide that support, but they call your commanding officer. They don't call the soldier directly.
Yeah, we couldn't really hear it at all. So if you could,
You couldn't hear it at all?
No, like if you have the video.
So what am I? I'm sitting here and you're
I
just
did it.
pretending?
No, I told you we couldn't hear it, but you couldn't hear me tell you that we couldn't hear it. Because remember you
I
said
could
when.
hear you clearly.
Well, I said we
you.
couldn't hear it. But anyways,
Oh
do you
my
have? Why don't you email me the video? Okay. Again, because it wasn't in that group that you gave me. You gave me 5 videos. It wasn't in that one.
Hold on, Gray.
Or you could just give it to me on Facebook because it's probably small enough. I would think. Short, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Wow.
Jeez.
She sent me all the other
Gray.
5, you guys, but she always blames it on me. You ever notice that?
Because it's your fault.
It's always the guy's fault then, right? Hey,
Yes.
Scott, man, I feel you. I feel you, dude.
Yeah.
I feel you, Scott, man.
What is she wearing in this? Light purple.
Or you can just send me the link directly to the TikTok video and I'll play
I don't
it.
know why you wouldn't be able to hear it.
Oh, it's just it's already really quiet anyways, and then you're just having your mic play it off the screen, right? So
Yeah, I have my mic to it. Really, all she's saying is that he thinks he heard that call, but it's going to take a second to find it. Do you want to go to the next screen and read
yeah, we can just
what's on there,
Yeah.
please? While I look for this.
see. As skeptical for a few. Well, this is Sharon addresses the Red Cross call. As skeptical for a few reasons. For one, Sharon was sure she never gave Bill's cell phone number to the Red Cross. Second, the Red Cross would not normally communicate with a soldier directly. They were generally only in communication with the soldier's spouse and the soldier's commanding officer. When Sharon got back to Ohio, she did everything she could to verify the origin of the call. She was able to confirm that the Red Cross volunteers did in fact use calling cards. See, what's interesting about that to me was a calling card you could just find, or you could take it, or it's a calling card, so anybody who had the card could use it, and it would appear that it was coming from the Red Cross, right? Couldn't anybody that had the calling card use it? It's a card, right?
I don't know.
Because I used to have those. I used to buy those, for long distance.
Yeah,
thing.
but I think that's different than the Red Cross calling card.
Well, it just seems like if you had the calling
I don't know
card,
that it works the same way.
Okay.
Maybe they do, but I thought the volunteers for Red Cross were the ones who use them.
Well, maybe
But-
because they have to call long distance, the Red Cross gives them these cards so that then when they call, they're not spending their own money. They're just using the calling cards to use, and that's why I used to have one of those. I mean, that's about the same time frame, too, where people would use those cards. But I don't know,
I mean, then
So-
it's possible, sure.
And why would they be
That's-
directly
Why would they
for...
be calling him
Yeah, that's weird.
either?
Yeah. However, the local Red Cross volunteers, a woman named Ethel, that would have been coordinating Bill's emergency leave, had no recollection of ever attempting to get in touch with Bill, and reiterated that she would generally have no reason to contact soldiers directly. Sharon also met with Tom Harden, the local sheriff in her area. He told her that prepaid calling cards could not be traced. Oh boy. Still, he made an attempt using Bill's cell phone data and the calling card number, but wasn't successful. See, prepaid calling card, that's exactly what I think anybody that has that, so wouldn't that be crazy if somehow Maura had access to one of those and had one with her? Yeah. And made that call, because he seemed really certain it was her. But I don't know if...
At first, he was very certain it was her. And then over time, he's kind of like, I know that I really thought that it was her, but...
They should they should release that call. Just so people could go, oh, that's just... Right? I mean, there might even be other people out there that if they heard it go, oh, that's definitely more, like they were friends with her.
Well, I sent you the link in your Facebook Messenger, and her dad heard it, and he just said it was, I couldn't understand a word of it.
Okay, just a second.
He couldn't understand anything.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the dad didn't, we played that yesterday, but it's weird I don't have that video. Let me, trying to get into Facebook. Just a second. I was just saying, sometimes when I open Facebook, the Messenger part doesn't open up.
About 36 hours after Maura went missing, her boyfriend Bill received a mysterious phone call. Let me tell you about it. Bill had a missed call when he was at the airport. When he listened to the voicemail, he heard what he believed to be whimpering on the other line. Here's what he had to say.
The message basically, in and of itself, was just a woman breathing and then possibly a whimper or some sort of noise at the end, which we believed to be her.
Now, my dad also heard the message. Here's what he had to say.
I was right there listening to it with Bill. It was unintelligible. I didn't hear whimpering. I desperately wanted it to be Maura.
New Hampshire State Police said they tracked it to a Red Cross calling card. So many questions. Did Bill even qualify for emergency leave? Red Cross calls commanders, not soldiers, and why would they use a calling card? I might need to do a part 2, but follow me to help me find Maura. Thanks.
It could just be
36 hours after Maura.
Like an absolute red herring too. Like somebody just dialed the wrong number. But here's the weird part. It was at 1 a.m, 1:30, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning?
If you scroll back, but if you look at the phone log, you see the one that's in the middle.
Oh, there it is, Red Cross.
That says American Red Cross, right? 534.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see down there, Denver, Colorado, prepaid calling card. So there's 2 separate calls.
And within 14 minutes, it looks like.
Strange. And one is 3 minutes, and the other one is 1 minute.
I think those prepaid calling cards were more common back in those years, because I used to actually have those, and nobody needs them anymore because everything's free now. You call anywhere in the country and it doesn't cost anything.
True. Yeah.
Everything was, you had to pay for any long distance calls back then.
Or after whatever time is when you would start calling people because everything costs more in the daytime.
That's right.
I hated that. The Missing Maura Murray podcast, Tim and Lance were able to ask the New Hampshire State Police some questions. They did ask about the Red Cross call, specifically whether or not they were able to confirm. And the police said, yes, we did confirm the call came from Red Cross. But that's all they would really say. They didn't know much more of that.
Let's see. So Bill and Maura, according to Sharon Roush, Bill's mom, the couples planned on getting married in September of 2005. They planned to honeymoon in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, her favorite place. Maura and my son Billy had plans to marry in September of 2005 and to honeymoon in her favorite of all places, the White Mountains of New Hampshire. She told me that at some point she just wanted to have lots of little Billies and grow old with Bill. Before the little Billies, she planned on a career in the medical field. She was in UMass BA nursing program when she went missing, but she planned on pursuing additional advanced degrees after her marriage. And I have no doubt she could do it, you know.
Yeah, no doubt at all. And then this just shows some of the searches, and we've gone over a lot of the maps before, but this just shows how much they did search. It was a lot. They've done line searches, spiral searches, pie, grid, quadrant. They've used dogs, cadaver dogs, search dogs, helicopters.
Yeah.
And there just, wasn't anything. But if we go down, Bill does tell us about his experience with the searches. He says, I arrived in New Hampshire on February 11th, 2004, and I helped search for Maura alongside the Murrays, my parents, and Morris friends. I considered all of those individuals to be extremely honorable and respectful people who knew and loved Maura dearly. Few have done more for her, and I am proud to be associated with them. We drove and or walked every road, trail, and wooded area in the vicinity of her accident to include 116. From what I recall, we hit the stretch of 112 between the accident scene and the 112-116 intersection, the hardest along with the smaller roads. So they hit that area the hardest. The smaller road is the first right turn after this scene headed east. It was 6 to 8 miles in length from what I remember. Please check that. I'm going off memory, not my notes or Google Maps. The thought was that because the dog scent went east from the car and police told us she was headed east. The reason they think she wasn't headed west is because the Westmans said if she had headed west, we would have seen her. I found that today, which is why nobody went west. We have been asking that question in the last video. Why didn't anybody go look west? But the Westmans said if she had come this way, we would have seen her. So.
Wow. Well, because they say that, let's not look there. I mean, that's just one of those things, like missed opportunity.
I guess because they were, we're going to find out too that, they say that they were watching when Butch pulled up and they were watching her. They couldn't see everything going on east, any further east because they could only see so far from their house. But they said if she had come back towards them, they would have seen her.
What was the actual time of the crash again?
Well, Faith called at 7:27.
7:20.
But scanners say they heard something at 7:05 on the scanner.
See, what's interesting is there was that thing earlier where you were reading that report. Didn't it say 17:30 something? There was a wreck. At the very beginning.
The affidavit?
Yeah, the affidavit that you were just reading randomly on the side.
7:37.
But I thought you read like at 7. There was military hours, and it sounded like it was 5 something. 17 would be 5 something.
No, it was 19.
Was it 19? Okay.
It was definitely 19. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, let me show you guys something since we're right here. I have it sitting in this folder. Let's see. There we go. Right here. So this is the 2004 February 9th. And then if you look right down here, I don't know if you can see the arrows pointing, but
yeah, let me pull you over to my better screen to see if I can see that better. I really can't. No.
Let me see if I can.
Let me see. I'll just look on my phone.
Well, I can make it bigger.
No, I got it on my phone.
Okay.
What is that?
So this is the wind and
snow
and the wind direction and how fast it is. So there was 24-mile-an-hour wind around like 7 o'clock right there. And then look at the wind direction at 7:53. See how it angles up like that?
Yeah, you're going to have to read it to us because it's very difficult to see.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, if you click on this, it says it's 6 mile an hour at 7:53, but it was before that at this time right here is 6:53, which is just before the accident. The wind was 24 miles an hour. Okay, and then the wind is blowing almost complete, a little bit north, like east mainly, but slightly north. And then it starts blowing at a 45-degree angle northeast, like just like that, boom. So if you go down to the street view of the scene here. So let me go. Where the hell is it? Right there. All right, where the hell's the? Oh, there it is. Right there. So look at I drew these lines. Those lines right there are the direction of the wind. Right during that time, they go straight from the car crash down the road. So that's why I was thinking, does dog scent, when a dog scents, does it have anything to do with wind? Or is it purely, because like if she was standing here and the wind blew down there and the dog came, it might have tracked it down that way because the wind blew directly down that road. And then it just dissipated.
Yeah, I mean, it could have, but I don't know that that's how it works either.
Yeah, like a lot of times they say it's something like particles are smelling on the ground or whatever. But is it always like that, or is it sometimes in the wind? Like, we kind of need to have like an expert on that, really.
We do, to really find out how exactly do these dogs do this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just know in general, because we cover so many cases that have scent dogs in them. It'd be great to know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree, niece. We need a dog handler expert, because I'm not sure, but I do know that the scent ended right in front of that house, which, that's a little crazy. But how much did they search there? I'm not sure. I think, when I was reading today, people were like, was the Atwood house searched? Was this house searched? And one of the things that I read was, well, why would Atwood's house be searched? He drove up, he tried to help her, she refused to help, he called the police, and he told them everything, so why would they be searching his house? And I'm thinking,
his behavior seemed so nefarious. I mean, it just was like,
it does, and maybe it seemed that way to Cecil, who knows him. Cecil, the police officer, knows Butch. So was there a thorough search of every house on that road? Did they bring the dogs in and around those houses, or just in and around her car? I don't know. But I thought that was somewhat concerning. I would want, nobody disappears into thin air. Right. They just don't. And then now when you start to hear about the people.
When I bring up alien abduction, when I bring it up, I say, what about alien abduction? You always see her, Chasing Truth's face, and she goes, well, I mean, it's like, wait a minute, man. You should throw that one out the window.
Not right alien abduction.
But I know what I know what you're really saying, but it's funny. Yeah, there you go. See?
People don't disappear into thin air.
Right.
They do not. Now, if aliens were among us, they would be able to disappear into thin air.
And do we know that they're there?
Yeah. In this case, he says, on the search, we drove from Canada. Who's this? Who drove from Canada?
Maybe,
somebody drove from Canada.
Let's see. Let me go. Is it? I think it's
to be clear, we were able to see our own footprints in the snow from the search for days after going over a period of ground. Okay, so this was another search that was done. Somebody who drove down from Canada. In short, we searched everywhere we knew or could think of. That said, we obviously didn't search far or fast enough. We didn't find anything to include the authorities in on. To be clear, we were able to see our own footprints in the snow from the search for days after going over a period of ground. I'm familiar with the type of conditions you describe from growing up in the winters in Ohio and my time at West Point. The conditions you describe were not present in the area near the accident scene. While the conditions could have been different prior to our arrival, the fact remains that none of our footprints were masked over in the way you describe for many days. So this was I know why I copied this, because this was a reply of searcher who their footprints were in the snow. If she went off into the woods, the trail would show footprints going off into the snow. If, I have really great pictures of the actual area, but they're more in the fall than in the winter. I want better winter pictures, and I think I found some. But you can see there would be a very light snow covering on the ground. How many degrees was it that day, Gray? Do you know? Because you pulled up the wind thing. Do you know how many degrees it was?
Had that on there. Let's see. Is that the temperature on the side there? I wonder if that's what that is. No, it's 24 miles an hour.
Down there. Summary temperatures.
Oh, wait, down here. So the high temperature was, well, it says actual was 40 degrees. The low was -4.
Woohoo, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
The average temperature that day was 18.52.
So they're just giving us averages. They're not giving us the actual day in question, right? Oh, no, actual. Okay. High temp 40.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was any bits of snow on that road, they're not melting away. So if your foot is stepping on it as she's going off into the woods, they're going to see the footprints.
The thing is,
it was -4.
See, what I always say is, for me, it's really possible that the footprints is a red herring. I've said it a million times. And that she walked a different direction somewhere and walked into the woods, and they just kind of really didn't check that very well. And how do we really know how accurate that is, that there just was no footprints? Are there photographs of it pristine before they walked in, and then we can look at it? Or is it just we have to rely on somebody saying?
There's a lot of information they will not give. I mean, Fred Murray had to go to court to try and get some of the records.
And it seems like they keep
just
searching,
will not give them out.
And they've searched that area for a long, long time. So it's kind of like some people think she did wander off. So if that's true, I mean, but law enforcement isn't part of those searches, right? With those concentric rings that you had. That
they are.
So if they're part of that, then they must think that she could have wandered off too then, right?
Says, let me see. The first one are these are search groups. They're not police. Those are friends and family. Mm-hmm. But then, that we've got, and we went over them in the first one, how long they searched, which ended up being, who was here?
That says friends and family, the first one.
Yeah. Are you doing? Yes, here we go. Okay, that one. That NHLI it's a different volunteer team. New Hampshire State Police helicopter is up there in the green. Mm-hmm. They did like a 10-mile radius.
Probably with FLIR or something like that.
Yeah. And they can think, she very well could have wandered off or something. And I understand that too. Yeah, she could have wandered off. Okay, but you can't tell me that and then say there were no footprints.
I know. See that?
Because the police are saying there was no evidence to lead us in any direction.
Yet they're flying helicopters out there looking. So they must not be 100% certain that that's true.
Maybe they weren't confident in what Cecil had to say. And the New Hampshire State Police, Monahan guy, was like, well, we still got to go look over here and over there because we don't know.
So that's the thing. I mean, here's the thing. What's weird is if you saw that there was footprints, the case would have had a whole different life of its own. Like, imagine if they'd said there was definitely footprints leading off into the woods. All this other peripheral stuff probably would have gone away, right? And it would be focused in on not all of it, but as long the longer somebody's missing, you still do this.
Let's imagine. Okay, she knows she'd been drinking. She's like, oh crap.
Yep.
She knows that man Butch who just talked to her is going to run home and call the police.
Yep.
So she's like, forget this. She grabs her backpack and a few of her things, right?
Yep.
And hops off into the woods, like on the driver's side where nobody can see her. Now she's in the woods. The police come. She can see them. She sees them looking. And the fire trucks come, but they're dismissed. The fire and EMS are not there very long, right? But they take her car away. Why doesn't she go to one of the houses that are on the road? There are 6 different places and a store that she could go into. Instead, she's going to walk off into the wilderness, -4 degrees. Her coat was not some big winter coat either.
Yeah, I mean, she was drinking, and then she thought, well, God, if I go over here, they're going to want to call too. So maybe she's going to try to wait it out or something. Who the hell knows? You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense logically, but some of the stuff she does doesn't make a lot of sense, like stealing those items and drinking. It sounds like she was probably drinking and driving. I mean, I know people want to dismiss that, but to me it seems like it's pretty clear, you know, like they actually could smell it in the container, and maybe that's what led to the wreck. And then she's thinking, oh crap, I just wrecked my dad's car the day before, now I'm wrecking this one, it's because of alcohol, man, I can't do this. And then boom, takes off. And then, you know, but then it seems like they would have found her by now in the woods somewhere, right? So
of course.
You know, so
right?
that's the thing, you know.
You would think so.
How about we get
with
some
all the searches? You got to remember,
yeah,
her dad, friends, family, especially her dad, 10 years every weekend. Not like, well, we're going to go search for a couple months and now we're going to stop. No.
It's almost like they need to get some mushroom hunters out there. I mean, mushroom hunters they find people
everything.
And as a matter of fact, like I always tell people, what they should do is the FBI and should do like a little sort of ad campaign. We need more mushroom hunters, yay! You know, not because, but don't tell it's the FBI. Just get more people into mushroom hunting, because mushroom hunters per capita find more bodies than anybody, even hunters, because
which is crazy.
They're in the middle of nowhere,
yeah,
always looking at the ground. That's all they're doing, looking at the ground, looking at the ground.
True.
Hunters kind of, you know, they're looking out, looking for a deer or something.
Because they're looking for deer, yeah. You could walk right over something.
Yeah, you might look for a track here and there, but mushroom hunters are always looking down. And my God, it's like, I tell you, out of, I would say, at least 20 times in the cases that I've covered, a mushroom hunter is the one that found the body, which is just absolutely crazy. I mean, they should give them like a badge, crazy. You know, give them some training. Well, hey, listen, if you stumble upon a body, here's what you need to do, and we'll give you a reward too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
Kimmy, you've gone searching too, right? Kimmy P has covered. She's stuck close to the story since the very beginning, so she knows a ton about it. And there's so much, you know.
Yeah.
It definitely has a whole heartbeat of its own, this case. So the next part will be Butch Atwood, the Westmans, and the police. That's what we will be going over.
Butch Atwood.
And the next one,
the Westmans Police Department.
Butch Atwood. How did they know she was even driving the car? I mean, it was all of her belongings. I don't know if they fingerprinted the car. I don't know any of that.
Well, probably because Butch Atwood saw her and said, yeah, well, that was definitely her.
Kimmy.
You know, so.
I mean, Butch saw her, but she had her hair down. She never wears her hair down. Butch is like, I don't know, maybe in the crash her hair fell down. Okay.
Or maybe she just, you know, she's on her own doing it. Maybe that look that she has with it up is the look that she has.
He said
in
the
public.
picture of the girl he saw doesn't look like her, but he doesn't know. It was dark outside. So we'll get into all of that too.
Oh, boy. Boom. But hey, good job putting these together. That was pretty good. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Let's see. Well, anything else you guys got?
No.
1 hour and 59. You said 2 hours. I was like, no way. But here it is.
Yeah, I said I have a hard stop at 3:30. I got to get off of here, so we're gonna make it happen. And look, we made it exactly with 1 minute extra.
And by the way, it's just for those listening. It's party, not potty. Okay. All right.
No, it's definitely potty.
All right. Hey, well, thank you to
thank you, Pamela. It's
to
definitely potty, right?
Charleston Amy, Jessica Schubach, Georgina Stoliker, and Bama Forever. All right.
Everybody say it with us. Potty hard.
Hard potty.
Hard potty. Yeah.
Yeah. Hod.
How you say it.
HODPOTTY or D.
It doesn't even matter how you spell it. It just is what it is.
Potty. Hotty potty.
Potty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Potty head. Ay. Potty head. All right, I have to go. I love you so much.
All right, you guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for the show. And I don't know if you recorded this. Was this recorded for a podcast? Probably not, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you know how you said you record some for podcasts, not for YouTube.
I do. There's going to be a lot of editing.
Yeah, I was thinking there's going to be Yeah, we do a lot of asides.
Yeah, I hate podcasters who do that. So I don't know. I'm still making up my mind. Great for YouTube, terrible for podcasts. I'm like, what are they sitting here talking to themselves? That's so annoying.
What do you mean when they? Oh, you mean when they
like
they
on a
leave
podcast? I can't even see you. Why are you sitting there talking to your person? What are you doing?
Oh,
right
you mean
now?
They leave in the asides and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Oh, it makes me. I
Get
cannot.
back to the case, you mofos.
Get back to what I'm listening for now.
Yeah.
All right, I have to go take
All
my
right.
son for ice cream.
Okay, and thanks.
Gotta do it.
Thanks for joining, Georgina, and there you go.
Absolutely.
Consider becoming a channel member, everybody. It would be
Please.
awesome. All right, we'll see you next time. Be
Love
safe
you
out
so
there.
much.
Bye-bye.
Love you so much. Oh, Heels Mirror's like, wait.
Be safe out there.
Can't wait, Heels. We gotta go. Body hot, sis.
Gosh, why do you always talk?
Shh. Don't talk, Vernon.
Be safe out there.
Show me.